Oh, we're over here at Super Springs, right?
Yep.
And you've got some interesting products here that should help a lot of people with their suspension, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
They're kind of cool looking, but what are they?
Yeah, so these are our Sumo springs. So this is a bump stop replacement, but it's so much more than that. These are actually made out of microcellular polyurethane. Then they're injected with nitrogen bubbles. So you've got thousands of tiny little air bubbles in these things that control a specific density. You get a really soft initial engagement. Then at about 70%, you get a full compression for a full
So that air's compressing in there. That's allowing that kind of hydraulic resistance.
Exactly. It's a pneumatic spring, but completely contained. So no compressors, no lines, anything like that. You're getting that same reaction.
But if you ripped it, is that stuff going to come out?
No, absolutely not. So this is a solid material. Really tough to rip. These are guaranteed for life. They're almost indestructible. So we challenge people to go out, test them on the trails, see if you can destroy them, and they're guaranteed for life. You
Obviously,
break it,
they've never been on one of my vehicles, so we'll have to see how that goes.
you'll have to test them out. But if you can break them, show me a picture. I'll send you a brand new set. They're guaranteed for life.
Okay, and what do you have them available for?
So we have them available for the full line of Jeeps. Everything from your TJs, JKs, JLs, JTs. We also have XJs, WJs, and then your full lineup as well. We also have towing products, everything for your camper, really for, full product lineup.
Okay, but there's like different versions of it. Like there's different colors. How does one pick out what they need for their vehicle?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to go straight to our website, superspringsinternational.com. You can search our application guide, you find your specific vehicle, and it will give you those options. The colors that you're going to see here are different densities. So each one is specifically tuned for a specific load weight. Blue is our lightest. Yellow is our heaviest and black is in the middle. So depending on that application, you're going to choose how much weight you've added to your vehicle or if you've got a stock setup. And then you also choose whether or not you have a lift. And then there are spacers for those with a lift.
Okay. And then that'll just give you a list of options or
Absolutely. Yeah. You'll see the full list of options there. We also have live chat on our website, so you can chat with our customer service team at any time.
Okay. And what are we looking at cost-wise?
So each kit, if you're looking at like a JL on the front, you're about $225 in the front and about $230 in the rear. So under $500 for a set. And then we're running a special for Easter Jeep Safari as well. Use promo code Easter Jeep Safari 2025. You'll save 15% on all our products.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm interested. I mean, we've tried several different types of bump stops on our JL, and now we're doing our JT build that's got the canopy on it. It's going to be hauling more stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for something that's going to help with that ride, with the sway, all that kind of stuff. And you're telling me this is the product.
This is the product, absolutely. It's been hidden for years. It's a secret in the Jeep world, but we're well known in the RV space. So commercial and RV we've been doing for years, and we're just now really pushing hard in this space. Toyota guys love us. If you start doing some research on the Tacoma space, they rave about the Sumo Springs.
Okay, so we just need to introduce them to the Jeep world.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're doing out here. We got all of our Jeeps. We're all Jeepers here at the company, so trying to push as hard as we can.
Excellent. So check them out, and it's superspringsinternational.com.
Yep.
Right? And these are the Sumo Springs. Thanks much, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it. Okay, we're over here with DVOS Lighting, and I have the 1200, been using it for a long time. Love this thing, but you got some other products and some new stuff. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, so since the 1200, we've come out with an 800 on our mini tripod. So this guy collapses down super small, but still goes up to 4.5 feet tall. Super handy for smaller Jeeps or, just something on a tabletop.
I love
exactly.
that. Yeah.
And then we have our flagship model, our 2000. So you're a little bit brighter, but then you also have the amber and red lights built in.
Versus this one, like, pull it off, had removable filters. So very cool.
Yeah.
Added the functionality to it, but you had to carry the filters around and swap them out. This is all built in with just different lights.
It is, yep. And then it also connects to your phone via Bluetooth.
Yep.
So then
no Bluetooth.
Yep.
Bluetooth.
So you use your phone as a remote to change those colors, dim it, turn it on and off, all that good stuff.
Okay. And are these all the same top, so all the accessories work with them?
Yep, the accessories like battery packs and solar panels compatible with all of them.
Okay. Now, one that I want to point out, and I haven't used it myself, but it sounds really cool, it's the motion detection. So a lot of times, some animal will come into your camp, and if a light turns on, it'll just scare them away.
Yep.
So I think that's a great use for the motion detection. It'll probably scare a human away too if they walked into your camp.
Likely.
So can you show us how that works?
Yeah. So our motion sensor just has a double-sided USB-C on it. So you can still charge or use a solar panel, something like that with this. Plugs into the charge port on the bottom of the light. And then we have a sensitivity and a duration setting on the back. So you can set that field anywhere from around 10 to 30 feet. and then your time anywhere from around 5 to 15 minutes.
Excellent. That I think that's a cool use.
Yeah.
I love that. Or even if you just want to have your light outside, you know, like this one has no Bluetooth on it, but if you had it set up on here, as soon as you step out of your tent in the middle of the night to go, you know, do your business, your light turns on.
Yep.
I think that's very cool.
Exactly.
You know, this one I like, you know, because everything's built in, you don't have the filters, but let's talk about these different colors. I don't know that everybody understands why you might want white versus the amber.
Yeah.
And what's your take on that?
Yeah. So the white, you know, we're all used to white in our homes and anywhere else. So that's going to be your brightest option, going to give you the best definition on everything around. But the amber, when we go to the amber, insects aren't as attracted to this wavelength of light. So that helps cut down on the amount of bugs swarming around camp and things like that. The red helps you maintain your night vision a little bit better. It's dark sky compliant. So if you're somewhere like Great Basin National Park, the red is going to be your go-to because then you're staying compliant with all of their regulations.
Yeah, I love that. We often use the amber for that exact reason, keep the bugs away, or it doesn't keep them away, it keeps them from coming to you.
Yeah.
It's not an attractant.
Exactly.
Like the white. And then the red, like we were using a red light last night at camp just because you walk away and you still have your night vision.
Yeah.
So those are great applications for it. What are we looking at in terms of price ranges here?
Yeah, so our 800 mini starts at $100. And all of these prices include light, tripod, your carry case, and your USB-C cable as well. And then we've got 170 on our 1200 and then 250 on our 2000.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, these are fantastic products. Like I said, I've been using the 1200, oh gosh, I don't know, 3 years now, I think. Absolutely a staple. However, you have to remember to charge it. So I've made that mistake once.
I've been there. Fortunately, because they're USB-C, I put it on my phone charger in the car last minute, and you at least get enough juice for usually a night.
Yeah. They do last a good long time. And they're let's talk about the dimmable aspect. Do they all have dimmable on them?
Yep, they're all dimmable. Press and hold the power button, and that'll cycle dim and then back up. This guy, obviously easier because you can do it in the app and with the slider and stuff like that, but they're all dimmable.
Very cool. What kind of range do you have from the phone to the light?
So because it's Bluetooth, it depends on your obstructions and things. Usually you can get around 50, 60 feet out.
Okay, that's pretty good. Because often I don't want to have the light in camp. I want it kind of on the corner or something so that it's lighting things, but it's not like glare on us.
Yep.
So being able to control that from a good distance, I think is really important.
Yep.
So where can they find more information?
So DVOSOutdoor.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now we're stopping by the Oracle lighting booth. They have some really cool products. I run the JL flush mount tail lights on the JL. I think that those are awesome.
It's the gateway to the lighting business.
Well, and if you ever had the stock tail lights and you tried to back up, those things are ridiculous.
They're huge. Yeah, right.
But the Oracle ones are so bright. I mean, it just is a game changer for backing up. And the fact that they're flush. There's just nothing sticking out to be grabbing trees.
That's the way it should have been done, right? And the reverse lights. There's nobody out there with brighter reverse lights.
No, I used to have extra pod lights in my bumper for reverse.
Yeah.
And I got rid of them. I didn't need them anymore.
You don't need them.
So they were fantastic. Now you've got some JT ones now.
Yep.
Right. And so those are really cool. I want to get those on our Gladiator build. No question about it. But something else that I found really intriguing is this trigger system. So similar to what I've used in the past, the aux beam or the S-Pod system, similar type thing, the ability to hook up different lights and abilities, but yours has a twist.
And what sets this apart is the wireless version. I'm holding the controller in my hand, and I can turn on lights and off directly from here. I don't have to drill. I don't have to run wires through the firewall. It's all there. And you can use your phone and do it Bluetooth
So you
as
have
well.
both app and remote.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's super cool.
And it actually will have battery monitoring through the app as well. So when you drop a certain amperage, it'll shut off and won't drain your battery down to nothing.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute.
Yeah.
How long will this last on a charge? I mean, assuming that's how
It uses a watch battery that you can pick up anytime.
Is it a little coin battery?
Months.
Oh, okay.
I've been using it for a year in our work. No problem.
Okay, so it's not rechargeable.
No.
It's got a replaceable.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, those batteries last forever.
Forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
it's awesome.
So it's a very low draw on the switch, and then the system is great for wireless.
And what kind of power can this thing handle?
So the 4 system has 210 and 230 watt switches. If you go to the 6, then it actually adds 2 5s to that.
Okay,
So very
2
low
5s, 2 10s,
and 2 30s.
30s. Okay, and do you still need to add a relay when you're installing lights?
No,
You just right up to it.
right up to it.
Awesome.
Goes right in.
And what are we looking at price point wise?
For the 4, around $299 retail, and for the 6, $399 retail.
Okay, so that's not
Very
bad at all.
competitive. Very
And
competitive.
It's, to me, it's the ease of installation, because you're not running that wire through the firewall, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Trying to bring it up, get it on the dash, figure out what you're doing with it. This is so much easier.
One side of the unit runs to the battery for power. The other side has weatherproof connectors. You can, with an 8-foot switch, so I can actually cut that down. I cut mine down to 6 inches because I didn't need all that space. It's better to have more than it is to have not enough.
Yeah, for sure. And with as happy I am with those taillights, I think I'm going to be happy with this system as well.
100%.
I think we need to go this route. I just love the installation ease and the capabilities of it. What else do you have? What else do we want to look at?
We have-
There's so much stuff.
We do, and we've been focusing on the Jeep for so long.
Wait, this looks like a JL vent.
Yeah, it goes on the JL vent.
Okay, let's take a look at that bad boy.
This is our sidetrack, and it will open the door. It has a nice puddle light for you, and then when you're going down the road, there's no lights on that side for the Jeep, so you just turn signal on, flashing amber.
So this ties into your turn
It
signals?
does.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's sweet.
Installation is super easy on this. It only has 3 wires per side.
So how do you tie into the turn signals?
So turn signals, you just T-tap into the actual harness right away.
And it's right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Very nice. What does this go for?
Our about $220 retail-ish.
Okay, that's not bad.
So very competitive.
Very
And
nice.
we're available for the JLJT, which is the same.
Okay.
And then we had to have it for the JK, and it gives it that JL
wow.
appearance.
Oh, that's
on the
very
JK.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, where can they find more information?
OracleLights.com, all day, any day. Find out, do our socials too, because we always have flash sales on our socials. So check it out.
Awesome. Thanks much, man.
Thanks so much.
We are over here checking out ArmorLite, and they make some amazing flooring products for your vehicle. Give us a quick rundown. What do we got?
So we're a complete carpet replacement for your Wrangler and Gladiator. Back to the TJ. We offer this in a tan color as well as a black. So our surface is a TPO. This stuff's virtually indestructible. A lifetime warranty, even on the grain. So
Oh, wow.
if you ever wear that grain out, we'll replace it for free. A bunch of different colors for our drain plugs. This clicks in straight to your sheet metal of your vehicle, so you can just hose this out. If you ever get to where you have some really bad, like that red clay mud, and it starts to stain, we have our own proprietary cleaner. This gets every little extra thing out.
So easy to keep clean.
Yeah, most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you're just using water and maybe a little bit of a brush. Just rinse it out.
Okay. Any soap or any? Not really?
No,
Just keep it-
that's the only one I recommend. That's only for like when you really need to touch it up for.
Now, taking a look at this, I mean, we got some density here.
Yeah.
Right. So, what does this do in terms of any thermal protection and audio protection?
So on a JKU, your catalytic converter sits right under the driver front. That gets the sheet metal up to 240 degrees. On top of that,
but your feet never get cold.
no. But so with that sheet metal at 240, we tested our floor at only 100. So there's a 140 degree differential.
Nice.
So we built this primarily to reduce those floorboard temperatures. Really good for people who have swaps too, Hemi swaps or LS swaps. Or if they just happen to run that exhaust a little too tight to the floor, this is going to cut down on your feet temperatures a lot.
Does it do anything for like road noise?
It does help with tire noise, especially if you have a really aggressive mud terrain tire. It will reduce that noise coming up through the floor. Not so much for wind noise, obviously. But it does make an impact to it. Yeah.
And what are we looking for a kit?
So if you're looking at JKU and you're just doing the front and rear at 615, and it's 1,024 for the entire thing. That includes all your wheelhouse covers, seat backs, and the cargo back.
Front to back.
Front to back.
Okay. What about something like a JT?
615. So that's just the front and back.
It's just the front. Okay.
Yeah, and that's very similar to what the kit you have here. This is a JLU kit. Same fronts.
So it'd basically be the same as the JT.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And installation, you're ripping everything out?
You're ripping your carpet out. On your JT models, you don't have to completely remove the seats. You just unbolt them and then you can rock them back and forth. Removing it is optional. You have an airbag, so you got to follow the proper steps for that. JKs, we have slits for it to get around the seat bolts because some of those bolts were really tough to get out. We've seen people break them, so we actually adapted.
Yeah, they weren't installed with anti-seize.
No, they weren't. And then all the way back to the TJ model. So 1997, we offer this all the way up with full coverage.
So it's
about 2 or 3 hour install.
A couple hour install.
If you don't follow the instructions, maybe 4 or 5, and another phone call.
Fix your mistakes.
And then we have a great dealer network too. So if it's something that the customer is not comfortable with doing, maybe ripping the seats out is a little too cumbersome for a back injury or something, we have dealers all across the United States that do this all the time.
Awesome. Where can they get more information?
Go ArmorLite.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Now, if you watched my EJS coverage last year, you may remember this. This is Red Dog Tools. And what I liked about the product is, well, it's a toolkit. So nothing special there, but they're vehicle specific toolkits. So what does that mean?
So that means it's specific to that vehicle, all the specific sizes that are required for the axle hub nut on that particular rib.
And we're not talking Jeep versus Toyota.
No,
we're talking JK versus JL.
Yeah. So the JK has to have an Allen wrench for the top of the shock tower, right? A TJ has to have a T55 for the rear track bar. So we go front to back, bumper to bumper, every fastener underneath. If it needs a wrench, we give you a wrench. If it needs a socket, we give you a socket. So it's specific to that vehicle. You can't go off of a data sheet and say, oh, what size of bolt is that? It doesn't even tell you the wrench size. So we put a wrench and a socket on every fastener underneath each individual rig.
Because if you want a toolkit in your vehicle, normally you just buy a huge toolkit and you end up with 40 parts that you never use.
Right. And it's 40 pounds.
That's my point, right? It's just all this extra weight that you don't need to be carrying, and you have to dig through it to try and find the right part.
And then that kit that you just described is not going to have, your 36 millimeter axle hub nut.
That's
right.
true.
So you'll have to special order that.
Now, something I found out with our new Gladiator is the bolts for the rear seats are different than the bolts on our JL. It's like, how bizarre is that, right? So finding a kit that's specific to your vehicle and has the tools that you need, I think that's huge.
Yeah. So, and it saves space and it saves weight. And we cover brakes, suspension, steering, and drivetrain, the typical trail repairs. So this isn't to rebuild your vehicle or do huge jobs. This is to get you home. That's the purpose.
I love it.
And you leave it in your rig. Don't take your tools, to the shop. Leave it in your rig, and don't take your shop tools and put them in your rig. Leave these in your rig.
So, what are we typically talking about in terms of pricing?
So we have 2 tiers. We have a 259 range, so 259 give or take, depending on that particular rig, and then about an extra $100 to the 359 range will give you gear wrench.
Okay.
And everybody's familiar with gear wrench, but
So two different qualities of tools.
This is gear wrench, right? So it's a little bit more expensive to go that route. They're a little bit better tool, but they're both lifetime warranty. So
is the cheaper one have the ratcheting?
No, that's
a huge advantage.
This is gear wrench. Right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely killer there. I love ratcheting wrenches like that.
Yeah, it's
big improvement. Okay, so which kit are we looking at here? Do you know?
This one is. I don't even know. Mike would know. I'm pretty sure this is the Well, this is a Toyota kit.
Okay, so
This is the
let's
new
talk about
Toyota.
kind of typical tools that we would see in a kit. So we've got a crescent wrench, your hammer, some
Needle nose for your cotter pins.
some nice vice or channel locks.
These are V-jaw channel locks. So these are really nice because they don't open up when you put torque on them like a normal channel lock type old.
The blue
channel
handle
lock,
ones
yeah.
I've got. Yeah.
So these will stay locked in. You could actually stand on this portion of it and it won't slip.
Very nice.
They're really nice. So these are great for doing like your jam nuts and stuff like that. And then of course we have your axle hub nut. Yep. And we have an adapter set for your breaker bar. We have deep sockets if you need deep sockets. Here's that adapter set. Brake line wrenches for specific to brake lines. And then all the other sockets are up here in this socket rail. So, and again, it's not a full set. It's specific to that vehicle. Right.
Right. So the moral of the story is only wheel with people that have the same vehicle as you because you can't fix their stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But I think this is great. I mean, I loved it last year. I as soon as I saw you guys had a booth, I wanted to come by again. But I think this is a great option for saving all that extra weight of useless tools.
Right.
And so where can people find out more information?
RedDogTools.com.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time, man. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right. I think we are saving the best for last.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, I know.
My ego's already big enough.
But we are over at the Easylate booth, and you watch our videos, you see me air down and air up with Easylate products. I think they're the best out there. They, and they've got such cute people working in the booth. How can you not?
Bigger over here.
So let's go over and let's talk about some compressors.
I would love to talk about them. We have a pretty robust compressor lineup, and honestly, the best kind of mix and match for whatever kind of tire you're looking to air up. You have the Mesa Auto Air. This is our 5.6 CFM. This is great for tires up to 35 inches. And then you have our beefy guys right here, our 10.6 CFM.
Because size matters.
Size does matter, especially when your tires are bigger. These are good for 35 or bigger, right? So you have the original Moab here. This is our first big baby, on and off. It's great, it does the job. Then you have Moab Auto Air, which is this, but with the Auto Air technology where you can set your desired PSI and it will air up and then stop when it hits there. And you have my personal favorite case, which is 10.6 CFM. It's built into this nice rugged case, so it's really great for those of you who are overlanding or a little bit harder on your gear. It has dual cooling fans, so because of that, it allows it to draw a little bit more even amperage from a battery. So even though it's rated 10.6 CFM, it consistently performs a little bit faster than
Oh,
these
nice.
two.
Nice.
Yep. This one also comes with a single tire trigger gauge, so it gives you a little bit more control at the tire if you needed to make minor adjustments. And it also has a pressure relief valve right here, so when you turn it off, it'll express that back pressure, and that will prolong the life of the pump automatically, whereas these just have buttons that you push.
Now, this is the one that I'm using right here. And she did talk about this. You set the pressure on here and it'll turn off. Well, I don't have that on here, but you have a solution for that.
I do have a solution for that. That solution,
Hello?
where is that?
Where?
Oh, the solution is over yonder.
Oh, let's go over here.
Let's go over yonder here.
We promise you works.
That solution is Air Command. So Air Command is really, really nifty. He's really packed in here, so he's safe and sound. And this is a digital manifold that will literally do automatic deflation. So you can set your PSI for what you want to deflate to, and then it will turn any compressor like your original Moab with an automatic pressure cutoff switch into auto air when you're airing up. So you can set your PSI and it will stop when it hits that. This will even turn like an ARB. So anyone who's running an ARB can now get
As long as the compressor has an auto pressure shutoff.
cutoff switch.
Yeah,
Correct.
like the original Napa one does
Correct.
not. Some of the other brands don't
Correct.
have that.
Right.
But the newer ones, like
Do.
the Moabs and stuff,
Yeah,
have.
and then like the ARB does too.
Yeah.
So anyone who already has an onboard air system and they were like, well, I don't need a compressor, but the auto air technology is really cool. All you need is this.
Again, That's what I run.
Yes.
So
And it's
awesome.
rechargeable. It's got a little chargeable port. You just use a USB-C, so that's really nice. And it comes in a nice little case. And yeah, and it's a plug and play with our hose system, so you can plug it into our hose systems.
Yeah, I did want to touch on the hoses because you have two different types of hoses.
And you've put them both to the test.
I have many times. I've
know.
been running the recoil for many years.
Yep.
And then I've recently switched over to the Hyperflex last year.
Yeah.
Well, why would someone choose one over the other?
Honestly, it's mostly a matter of preference in terms of what kind of hose they want to deal with, and also budget. We want to make sure we have a good price point for anyone who's getting into the sport. This is a much more budget-friendly price, the recoil one is. And then the Hyperflex is also rated for a slightly higher PSI. So if anyone is running a CO2 tank, you can air up with your CO2 tank.
Right, because this will do
Hyperflex.
300 PSI
Correct.
versus
150.
150 PSI.
Yep.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah, so a variety of reasons why we have the two styles, budget friendly. Some people just like the coils better.
Yeah.
And some people like the straight hose better. And anyone who is looking for a CO2 friendly system, you have that one.
Now, while I do carry the compressor, I also have a CO2 tank, which I'll take once in a while. And so got to have the Hyperflex for that extra. I also like how this rolls up better. It's a
Yeah.
little flatter in the bag. And in the bag that it comes in, I mean, you do get the manifold with it, but I keep this guy in that bag. It just fits.
Yep.
So no problem with having to have an extra box for this thing.
Exactly.
It just fits all nicely.
And we know, like in an overland case, you want to, overland situation, you want things to be a little bit more compact. Whereas you have people who are just starting to get into this hobby, and this is a much more perfect budget-friendly setup for them.
Excellent. Where do they find you?
Easyflate.com.
And all the socials.
Easyflate.
So it's really difficult to find them.
Really easy to find us, actually. Not difficult. Easy. Easy, not easy. Have fun with that one.
I get it. All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Always
you.
appreciate the time.
So
Great products. Check them out. It's what I run. It's what you should run.
Yes.
Well, thanks for joining us on the EJS 2025 Vendor Expo. Showed you the highlights. There's a lot of other stuff to see. So if you're ever going to come out and check out Easter Jeep Safari, be sure and come down here and check out the Vendor Expo. It's really cool. A lot of neat stuff to see. Way more than we could cover in one video. But thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And stay safe out there. And we'll see you on the trails.